Hey guys, Tyler here with the Kingdoms trading card game, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today, this video is video number 6 in my 12 days of Christmas YouTube uploads, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I wish I knew before I created my own trading card game. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So first, I want to preface everything that I'm going to say in this with, you need to think about these things from two different perspectives. Are you wanting to make a trading card game as a hobby, or are you wanting to make a trading card game as an actual product and being a game creator and potentially making this a career? The latter of the two, the career part of it, making this a legit product that's trademarked and licensed, that's something I don't know a lot about, but I've done research about that stuff, so I know a little bit about it. So everything that I'm going to talk about in this video, you have to think about it in that lens. Am I doing this, am I making my game because it's a hobby, or am I making this game because I want to go down the long road and make this an actual product that you can buy at your local game store? So the first thing I wish I knew before I created my trading card game, the Kingdoms trading card game, is I wish I would have thought about the name a little bit longer. It was only after releasing set 1 that I really started to dive into the legal side of things and wanting to see what would it take to make this game legit and actually be in the game store and protect my game and all the creative things that I've put into it. And unfortunately, the name Kingdoms is just very generic. Kingdoms. Now there's a lot of great games out there for those of us that are in the homemade trading card game community. Some of the most popular channels, Chaos Galaxy is the one that comes to mind, and I think for many of us as well. You know, that's such a unique name, and it's not just a generic word like the word Kingdoms, or Wrath of Kors is another one that I think of, or even Epic Wars TCG, and there's Realm Rumble TCG. There's so many out there, and I'm sorry if you're one of my subscribers and I didn't mention it, but those are great names. Kingdoms is too generic, so I wish before I had made my game and actually started uploading stuff to YouTube that I would have thought long and hard about what I was going to name my game. I actually did come up with another name, but I was just so far into it and I had made a decision, you know what, I'm actually not going to try to press hard for this game to become something legal that's a legitimate project on stores. It's just going to be a indie style game that you combine the game crafter, and that's all it's going to ever be. And originally I was going to switch the game to the name Ngom. And the reason why I was going to be calling it Ngom is, one, because Ngom is so unique. There's nothing else called Ngom. Ngom is the world that the Kingdoms TCG takes place in. And so Ngom TCG, that's a lot more unique. It stands out amongst everything else. And plus two, if you think of Kingdoms TCG, there's a lot of other people that use the word Kingdoms even in their whole name of their card game. So that is one thing I wish I would have knew, that I would have thought long and hard about what do I want to call my game and giving it something unique. And that's a tip for you. If you're trying to think of a game or trying to think of a name for a trading card game that you're making, what's the name of the world that your game takes place in? Maybe that would be a great name for your game. The second thing that I wish I would have known is that I wish I would have done more research about my game. And I think this goes both ways. Definitely if you want to make your game a legitimate project, or a legitimate product, I should say, you obviously need to do far more research than for those of us that want to keep our trading card game as an indie game, because you need to make sure that you're not breaking any laws in terms of, you know, a protected mechanic that's in one game and you're trying to put it in your game. There's a lot of like in-depth stuff that just was too much for me to wrap my brain around. But in terms of my game, because I'll just talk about Kingdoms trading card game, I wish I would have thought a little bit more about maybe the currency in the game. So Magicka, for example. I wouldn't have called it Magicka because it's super close to mana, and mana is used in I shouldn't say far too many games, but it's used in so many games that I wish I would have come up with something different. The word that I would have used is Suna, because that is the magical powers in the world of Kingdoms. I even would have thought maybe differently about battle cards, or the term spirits or legends or tokens. One thing I did research though is I started looking at all my favorite card games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, kind of the big ones, and what parts of those games do I like and what parts do I not like. So I started taking all those things, started putting them together, and that's how I came up with kind of the zone gameplay style. But the sacreds are your health, but the sacreds give you an ability. And going here on out, as you'll see in some other videos that will be coming out in this 12 days of Christmas, eventually I want to open up the ability to play additional cards, because I do like being able to play multiple cards and not limited to just one or two. So I just wish I would have done more research and thought again, how can I make my game even more unique compared to other games? And especially too, before you upload your first video to YouTube, it's really nice to have a lot of that stuff fleshed out, so that way you're not having to change stuff, or maybe even tell people that maybe you're 100 subscribers in, saying, hey everyone, I'm completely changing my game, I hope you'll stick with me. Which, that's totally okay if you gotta do that, but it's nice to just be consistent from day one. Now what I just said for my last tip leads perfectly into my third tip, and that is to be patient. I'm actually going to put up on the screen right now what my first Kingdoms trading cards ever looked like. I was coloring with pencil, and I was really just trying to get everything rushed because I wanted to get it done. After some time, I realized that if I really wanted to go hard on YouTube and make my game appealing to other people and get people interested in playing both, you know, that don't live around me and people that want to buy my game that live in different states or countries to play on their own, I needed to make my game look better. Now, I realized that I was going to be walking down the line of this is just a simple hobby, but I still want it to look good, because I don't know if my artwork would necessarily be good enough to be a legitimate product. And so I spent time, I redid all the artwork, and honestly, I'm really happy with where the game is at. There's little things that I'm always fine-tuning, that I'm trying to make a little bit more quote-unquote professional, but as a whole, I'm really happy with how the cards look like now, as well as all the other products. The first deck boxes that ever came out, and I have some video going up right now. Again, I just quickly put them together, and I actually revised these things 2 or 3 times, and then I finally have come up with a design that I'm really looking forward to and really liking. Even some of my booster pack original designs were just really rushed, and I just didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. But I'm just trying to be patient, taking my time, and now I'm putting out stuff that I'm very proud of, and I'm really excited when people buy, because I know they're getting a good product that I'm proud of. The next thing is making a list of what you need to do. And you know, I've talked about my binder quite a bit that I keep all my Kingdom stuff in. Let me grab it real quick. Anything for Kingdoms I put in here, and in another video, and I can't remember if it's come out before or will be coming out after this, I have a lot of other games that I want to make, or a lot of other ideas, but it's important that I keep everything for Kingdoms in this folder. If you're fortunate like me and you have a computer, maybe digital storage is your thing, you can use Google Drive, you can just simply use the storage on your computer. There's a lot of other places and things or ways to keep track of stuff that you need to do, or just things for your game. And my tip for you though is make sure you are keeping everything in one spot. For a while I was starting to have notes on my phone. I had a couple different apps that I could write notes on. I was using Google Drive, I was using Microsoft Word, and I had things all over the place, and it was getting a little overwhelming. And so eventually what I had to do is just consolidate everything to one platform, and that is my storage. So basically I keep all my ideas in here, my little art pad, or on Google Drive, and that is where all my ideas go. If even someone shoots me a message for a cool card idea, it goes in one of those places, so that way it's not just lost in the abyss of messages or text messages that I've received. But with this list of what you need to do, start thinking of like, okay, what designs do I need to come up with? What products do I want to make? What rules do I need to figure out? What cards do I need to come up with? Start just giving yourself kind of a overall framework, because one thing that can be overwhelming, and making a list of what you need to do doesn't sound fun, but the thing is, when you get older and maybe you're in college and you have to write a paper, if someone just says write a paper about something, you're actually going to have a very difficult time figuring out what do I write about and how do I write about it. Now you might be a unique individual, you might be fine with it, but by and large, normally it's a difficulty. But you have a much better time writing a paper when your professor or your teacher tells you you have to write a paper about this and you can't do these things. Now you know what your parameters are, and you can just run in that and be totally fine. So it's the same thing with making a game. It sounds like, well, making a list of stuff I need to do, that doesn't sound fun. But making that list will, one, give you a direction of where you gotta go, and it will help you chew on little bits and pieces, and lo and behold, your game will be done, and you'll be uploading your first video on YouTube telling all of us about your new homemade trading card game that you have made. And then lastly is organization. I kind of talked about this just previously, but again, keep all your stuff in one spot, because it can start to get overwhelming where everything is. I've consolidated everything down into my folder, my small little art pad, and then some stuff on the computer, and that is where I keep track of everything. So I'm curious, what of these tips was most helpful for you? Or do you have any tips or things that you wished you knew before you made your own game? My last tip, if you want to make your own trading card game, something that I wish I knew, is because I have now decided that I'm just gonna stick in that hobby route. If people want to help you, be willing to say yes. I had a hard time saying yes to people helping me because I really wanted to make sure it was this perfect product, and it's really cool when you can have someone help you that can bring their own creative juices to the game and maybe take the game in a slightly different direction that you never saw, and it ends up working out for the better. And so I would encourage you, if you have someone reach out to you, I don't know, maybe give them a little bit of stuff to do. Maybe draw a card, come up with a story, come up with some card ideas. And the more you two learn to work together, or maybe you and a couple people start to work together, the more everyone will start to see, okay, this is how the game works. Sorry, my dog just ran out of the pole. And also too, even though you are kind of overseeing the game, they'll start to see, okay, this is the trajectory that you want the game to go in, so let's try to make it happen. So I'm curious, out of all these tips, which one do you think is the most helpful for you? If you've made your own game, which one of these do you wish you would have known beforehand? If you have any things that you wish, or that you know, that you would like other people to know about, drop it in the comments below. I do want to end this video with a Bible talk and just the simple encouragement to make sure you spend time reading your Bible. It's not because reading our Bible is what saves us or makes us good, but it's because God, through His love and infinite wisdom, has given us His Bible, His written words to speak to us and to show us how great He is, and to instruct us and tell us how we are to live our lives. Anything that I want you to know about is in the description box below. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel so that way you can keep up with what is going on. Stay tuned for tomorrow's 12 Days of Christmas video. And whatever time of the day that you're watching this, whether this be the morning, evening, or night, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks.